Well, Francis, good morning. How did you read the mood in the two parties, given that the result wasn't entirely conclusive?
Yes, Barry, good morning. Well, I guess the overwhelming feeling this morning on both sides would be exhaustion. It's been a very long campaign, a 2-month campaign for the two candidates, for the Greens, Cathy Oak, and for the ALP, Jennifer Canis. I think the best way to describe the Labor feeling would be of relief. There are those who were in the Labor Party who thought that this seat was lost as soon as the former member for Melbourne and the former Minister Bronwyn Pike announced her resignation in May. But Labor believes they had a better last week of the campaign, and they do think that their current lead on the two-party preferred of around 750 votes will actually stretch out as the final votes are counted, because they think that they'll pick up some more votes in the pre-poll and the postal voting. As for the Greens, they haven't conceded yet, and they're publicly very upbeat about the increase in their primary vote and also the swing against Labor in this seat. But it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for them to take the seat as things stand at the moment. We'll probably get a final result in the middle of the week. But truthfully, I think the Greens will be bitterly disappointed if they don't win this seat as is expected. They saw this as their best chance of taking their first lower house seat in the Victorian Parliament, and they have had a history of talking up their chances in this particular seat. When we think about the last state election, they were very confident of winning, but then had a setback when the Liberals decided to put the Greens last behind Labor in terms of preferences. So I think the Greens will be bitterly disappointed that they haven't been able to take this seat.
All right, well, let's break it down now, both state and federal. First of all, state. At the state level, what do you think can be drawn from the result?
Well, Barry, I think any pressure that might have been building on the leadership of Daniel Andrews as the Labor leader will probably recede. As I mentioned, there were plenty of people in the party who thought this seat was gone, and now it looks like they're going to keep it. So that relief about the result is likely to be a positive thing for Daniel Andrews. But it's not all positive for Labor. I mean, their primary vote is around 33%, and they'll have to do a fair bit more if they're going to achieve their aim, which is to try to make the Baillieu government a one-term government. As for the Greens, there'll be a bit of soul-searching about the way they ran their campaign. They had a very public face and spent a lot of money on this campaign and announced, I think it was 9 or 10 policies, and they criticised Labor for announcing no policies. But I think they started to come undone a little bit in the last week, where they made a costings announcement which wasn't handled all that well, because they were naming savings in the budget where the items that they named as savings had already been spent, some of the money anyway. So, I mean, I think the Greens will be talking about how, I mean, you heard Adam Bandt saying that Labor has gone green in the seat of Melbourne, but I think there will be a bit of soul-searching about the way they ran their campaign.
And at the federal level, of course, so much that happens is seen through the prism of Julia Gillard's leadership. What do you think will be the analysis there?
Well, I think probably your guest on the couch will have a better insight on that than me, Barry. But as you mentioned, there has been a lot of federal focus on what is a state by-election all throughout the past 2 months, which has intensified in recent weeks with the attacks on the Greens from members of New South Wales Labor, Paul Howes and Sam Dastyari. So I think there will be a bit of further analysis about the way that Labor handles their relationship with the Greens at a federal level, and whether they go down the path of the Paul Howes, Sam Dastyari attacks, or if they take a more muted response, as Daniel Andrews did here in the state by-election. I'm not sure Adam Bandt will be filled with confidence about the way that this vote played out and his chances for the next federal poll next year. I also spoke to Kath Botel last night, who's the president of the Victorian Labor Party and was the Labor opponent to Adam Bandt at the last federal poll and is considered to be the likely candidate at the next federal poll. And I asked her whether she agreed with the sentiments of Steve Bracks, who was reported in News Limited yesterday, saying that he thinks that the Labor Party will lose the next federal election and any further state elections that are coming up soon. And this is what Kath Botel had to say.
No, I don't agree with Steve on that. And obviously we're polling badly federally at the moment, but I think that there's another 12 months to the federal election. If you see the sort of pressure that was put on the Greens in this by-election, when you put that sort of pressure on Tony Abbott, cost his policies, how's he going to deliver what he says he's going to do, I think you will see the vote move. And just as we saw the vote move over the last couple of weeks here, when you start to say, can they actually do what they say they're going to do? Well, probably not, actually. Probably not. And when that pressure comes on Tony Abbott, I'm confident that people in Melbourne and all around Australia will start to think twice about that.
So that's Kath Botel there, sounding fairly upbeat, but I think it would be fair to say Labor has a fair bit of work to do if they want to win back this seat federally.
Frances Bell, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it.